Yeah, Senator Payne, you've torn up Victoria's Belt and Road Agreement, I believe, in the last 24 hours. New Zealand has, in 2017, signed its own Belt and Road Memorandum. Firstly, why did you tear up the agreement in Victoria? And should other players in this region, including New Zealand, follow suit?
Again, in response to your last question, that is entirely a matter for New Zealand. Australia has instituted a system of examining foreign arrangements in our country. Those arrangements particularly entered into by the states and territories with foreign entities, also entered into by local government and universities. In the first examination of those arrangements, as they have been returned to the Commonwealth Government, over 1,000 arrangements were returned to us from very many countries. My task is to determine whether or not they are consistent with Australia's foreign policy, whether they are adverse to Australia's foreign relations. And the decision that I have announced in the last day is in relation to 4 agreements in particular. Agreements concerning Syria, Iran and China. And the determination that we have formed is that they are not consistent with Australia's approach to foreign policy, and under the legislation will be terminated. I do expect that there will be further decisions to be made in due course, and they will be informed by advice from my department on the consistency of all of those arrangements with the relevant legal test as it's set out in the legislation. There is, of course, a fundamental difference between the governance arrangements in Australia and New Zealand, and of course we are a federation, so states and territories that enter into those agreements are now required to consult and to advise the Commonwealth as they do that. The process that I'm going through now is about reviewing those which have been made in the past, and in this case addressing 4 of them in particular.
Can I just cover the New Zealand component of the question? New Zealand and China signed a non-binding memorandum of arrangement in 2017. We've not yet concluded the work program, and we'll still consider our approach based on that approach.
Cool. Jessica, One News.
Sorry, Senator. Thank you for answering the questions. In regard to Sahara Aden, will you allow her, and more importantly her children, to return to Australia? And where are you at with sorting that out with New Zealand?
I think it's fair to say that Minister Mahuta and I have had a very constructive discussion about this issue and related matters today. We have a very close working relationship with our international partners, and that absolutely includes New Zealand, on management of national security issues, of which this is one aspect. And I want to say very clearly that regardless of the steps that have been taken in this case to date, both New Zealand and Australia acknowledge that it now does have a number of complexities. We are working through those issues in the spirit of our bilateral relationship, particularly in relation to children and their matters upon which we will continue to work together, but I don't have anything to add to that at this stage.